Ronaldo should have never gone to the World Cup. He wasted a year of Portugal's time by being there at the tournament, and that may be harsh, but I believe Ronaldo breaks football teams rather than add anything substantial. I genuinely believe Portugal could have made it to the semi-finals, especially if they'd somehow beaten Spain, and I imagine they would have had a good shot against Belgium. People may want to blame the midfield and the rest of the team, but I want to make people understand how Ronaldo affects his teammates' performances. Now that may seem outlandish to a Ronaldo fan, but I want you to understand that I myself am a Ronaldo fan. I loved him when I was a kid at United, and I loved when he returned to Manchester United. And that's where I want to start. I believe Ronaldo weakened the team under Rangnick, Ten Hag and Solskjaer. He made it impossible to embed a well-connected side that is needed in a modern Premier League team. While he scored a lot of goals and won games, he struggled to maintain consistent form in his second season under Ten Hag, and found himself conflicting with the tactical principles Ten Hag wanted to lay down. He wasn't subdued by Ten Hag, therefore finding himself increasingly on the bench. I do believe in individual power, but ultimately I believe in the power of the collective over the individual, because if at least you can choose one individual to build a team around, then they have to be beyond exceptional. I mean, why would you create a team around someone who wasn't producing results on the pitch? Ronaldo found himself more and more frustrated. And while that's a great mentality to have as a player, as wanting to play every game is good, you can lose the support of your teammates due to your entitlement. Case in point, Garnacho. I want to explain how his mentality feeds into the on-pitch performance. If the manager believes you aren't good enough, then that's his struggle, not the players to decide. Like the prerequisite position for a happy Ronaldo is one that plays every single game. At the cost of the team, just like at United, you can see the same patterns emerging with the Portugal national team. Subdued manager led to subdued performances. Martinez made a huge mistake by choosing Ronaldo, and the Portuguese FA have questions to answer. They know Martinez's subpar record, so why was he chosen? I theorise that this may have been a decision desired by Ronaldo. It would have suited him to fix a manager who would pick him no matter what, even at the possible detriment of the team. Now that's just a theory. A football theory. And now it's happening again. Ronaldo's former manager at Al Nassr has now replaced Martinez and taken the job of Portugal's team going forward. This is only going in one certain direction. His hunger for 2 Euro titles, to outdo Messi and to extend his playing years by 2 years, hunting 1,000 goals at 43. And I guarantee the narrative for the next Euros is already being built. How predictable. I feel Ronaldo should have took responsibility of his ability to play, not letting his pride lead him to the personal glory of the World Cup, but a World Cup for the generation he's currently surrounded by. That's why I cannot allow people to brand the Portugal team responsible for Portugal losing, because they could only do what they were told, and that was to feed Ronaldo. This may seem like I am pandering to the team, but I believe there's a fundamental problem with how Ronaldo flows within the team. And once you figured out that the tactic of pumping it to Ronaldo wasn't going to work, it was game over for Portugal, crumbling to the first difficult team they came across in Spain. They were mentally stagnant. In this first example I want to show you is in the first 17 minutes of the first game against DR Congo. Your team has a chance to put this 2-0 up and keep an arm's length from Congo and securing the match instead. Ronaldo has just seen the ball being saved from a brilliant driving run by Nuno Mendes, and as any great striker should be doing, is monitoring the space in case a chance is recycled. The shot is fired and Ronaldo has a choice to make. Does he go around the right and find the wide open space the ball will eventually find itself in, or does he realise he's too slow and instead opts to follow the ball rather than the play and begs Fernandes to give him the ball? Is this what we are talking about, setting up plays for Ronaldo? One where he has to beg for the ball rather than actually find the space and provide an outside run. If he had decided to actually scan his surroundings rather than wait for the ball to magically come back to him, then he would have found the gap inside DR Congo's defence, just like Silva had done, covering for space Ronaldo can't get to. There are lots and lots of examples you can find yourself of tactical indiscipline, and while he may be aesthetically nice to watch and the players are trying their hardest, there is ultimately no substance Ronaldo provides. Believing in Fernandes, the all-time Premier League assist leader, to deliver the ball into a dangerous area might have been the wiser choice for Ronaldo. One particular midfielder I want to highlight is João Neves. He was at his usual brilliance, scoring a header like he often is for PSG, scoring early in the game and giving Portugal a positive start. He had a man-of-the-match performance. How can you blame him for Portugal drawing to Congo other than an inept manager who blindly keeps opting for a team with a handicap? Now can you imagine a World Cup where they rely on a second string striker like, I don't know, someone who might have scored a hat-trick in the last World Cup? Yes, he hasn't been firing for his club, but there's a pattern that Ramos can come on and change games, and unfortunately for him, 8 minutes was all he had. And even still, he had to play with Ronaldo, becoming the victim of a black hole. Ask yourselves, would this be tolerated for anyone else? Like, why are there being exceptions made for one person? Welcome to the Big Ron Gone Wrong game show. I'm going to go through a series of screenshots over the Colombia game, going into further mistakes that he was creating, and it may seem like I'm cherry picking certain aspects, but this is just a few examples where there of a million mistakes that Ronaldo is making that hinders his teams, and I can make an argument for each one. Let's go through the first example. Ronaldo receives a ball from the wing, Bruno Fernandes intercepts it, goes for a shot, goes into the air, and Ronaldo here has choices to make, and he decides to go for a shot, an ambitious one. It hits the Colombian defender, and the other Colombian defender manages to get a foot towards it and clear the ball. What are the 4 things he does wrong? Does he A, there's nothing actually wrong there, it was actually a pretty good attempt. B, it was just bad execution. If he'd actually hit it properly, he may have actually gotten in there. Was it poor delivery from the right? Maybe if he'd received the ball first, or if Bruno Fernandes had opted to pass instead of shoot, or should he have recycled possession? Of course, the answer is it was bad execution, and D, he failed to recycle the opportunity. As the ball comes into the air, he is aware of the players around him, and he opts to take a shot rather than going for the pass. As you can see, there are 3 players currently surrounding him. Bruno Fernandes intercepts the ball from a great cross for the right wing. He takes a shot, loops it into the air, and then Ronaldo decides to kick it, and unfortunately he doesn't get a goal out of it, and the enemy clears it. Now, what did he do wrong? Was it A, there was actually nothing wrong there. He actually executed the plan, and they unfortunately didn't receive a goal out of that. Or did he B, was it just that poor shot from Ronaldo, and maybe he should have actually hit it better and took his time? Was it C, poor delivery from the wing, and in fact the ball should have come higher? Or D, he should have recycled the possession? The answer was B, bad execution. Yes, it was pretty bad execution. Maybe he should have shot it better, but more importantly, he failed to recycle the possession. Ronaldo sees the ball getting hit, just like in the Congo game, and what he decides to do from here, in fact, wastes this opportunity completely. He knows these players are around him, they are calling out to him, and he saw them as he's running in. Instead of opting to shoot, he could have actually passed it to the players around him, and that would have created more of an opportunity to score. But these little things of wasting opportunities, they stack up. You've got to recycle the possession there. That is one of the most wasted chances that we had in that match, and there are 2 more examples of where there could have been opportunities made, but he just wasn't ready to take them. With this example, Ronaldo actually is able to pass the ball between his teammates, which is good. He's getting involved in the play, but as you will see, it doesn't go to plan. He's coming back in, he's passing the ball back to Nuno Mendes. Nuno Mendes sees the outside run from the winger, the ball goes out to the winger. Ronaldo is in the middle. Ball progresses, you see it comes to Vitinha. Vitinha also has an option to pass to Ronaldo, but ultimately he opts for the outside run of Neves, who admittedly makes the poor choice of shooting rather than creating that opportunity here. So, is he A, begging for the ball, B, not making enough channel runs, C, not tackling teammates, or D, marking the player to his right? What is Ronaldo doing wrong here? A, he's begging for the ball, and B, he's not making the right channel runs. I'll explain once again. You see, he passes the ball back off, but he becomes stagnant. Why is he stood still? Observe how the other players run into the box and are actively hunting for the ball, not in the way Ronaldo is doing. You can see now that the ball has gone to the wing, he's actively begging for the ball. Instead of actually getting into a dangerous opportunity, he's deciding to ask for a ball in a really congested area. And in fact, you'll see now that if he had decided to run into these certain areas early on, he could have received the ball and he would have been in a much more dangerous position. You could argue that the right back could have made darting run as well, but he's currently got someone he's marking at the moment. So the only option left realistically is for Ronaldo to quickly get into them positions, but he didn't. And this is what I mean by the team is being hindered, because he's not part of the team, he is the team. And as you can see, Neves makes a poor decision and decides to shoot. I think if anything he should have actually gone for the cross. As you can see, Ronaldo does see it late. It's creating a great overload, but someone needs to be able to exploit it on the right, and Cancelo couldn't do that. Alternatives that Martinez could have relied on. Yes, there were. An alternative to Ronaldo would be Ramos. I'm not saying Ramos is better than Ronaldo, but he is far more suited than Ronaldo is to perform the role of a striker. Simply standing nearby isn't good enough. Real, genuine peeling runs that put defenders in two minds is what is needed to exceed at this level. There was one example of Luis Enrique getting rid of Mbappe, not because he did not believe in his ability, but because he didn't fit his style of play. And now look where PSG are at without a dictator up front. I'm sure Mbappe will turn his club form around when he is able to, but he was the reason alongside Messi and Neymar why the club never amounted to anything significant. Their style of play demanded priority over the whole team. Think of Pep Guardiola and the type of players he cultivated over the years, the only exception being Haaland. He recognised there was a need for a classic number 9 again. You can get away with it with high quality movement, but Ronaldo lacks this and the decision making skills to think quickly enough and make the right choice every time. He may seem like he's always making space for his teammates to exploit the back lines, but deep down opposition defences know not to be too bothered by his positioning, as seen in the example against Colombia and Congo. Ultimately, he has zero successful dribbles during the entire tournament. He's simply passing the ball off and running into the box this year and hoping he gets a goal. Higher opposition like Spain were never really going to be bothered. Simply choosing Ronaldo to engage a press is functionally broken. Every time he fails, the opposition always has a base to start an attack from. Here's an example from the Croatia game that I want to highlight, and it's how structurally Portugal was set up. Croatia are currently on the ball and they're looking for them line breaking passes. The strikers are already peeling off and making great excellent runs, but look at the marking here. Look how well and tight Ramos is marking his midfielder, Modric. Kovacic wouldn't have the ability to make that pass to him. He never made that pass anyway, but it's about closing off these passing lanes that can make a team just so much foundationally stronger. And this is where the first goal even comes from. Ronaldo's gone at this point, and you can see what Ramos is doing different from what Ronaldo was doing. And I'm not just highlighting Ramos because it's Ramos. I'm talking about any decent level striker is doing this. I can tell you for sure that Ronaldo would have been occupying this middle space, asking for the ball to come to his feet, which isn't going to work. Everyone's already sussed it out. Look how Ramos makes this great opportunity. I was able to open up his body and look for the correct man, and he drops a great cross in, and look how well organised the team looks now. Without Ronaldo, the team actually looks like a functioning, organised team. And this is what I mean. This is why fundamentally Ronaldo breaks the team, because he's not occupying a space that's free. He's occupying other people's space, feeling entitled to have it and then waste it. Imagine if Ramos had more time. Imagine if he had more time in this match and what the score could have been. Luckily he came on and he won the game for him and they went through to the next round. But why did that not qualify him for another match against Spain? Though the team's performance still didn't pick up, you found Ramos immediately marking the main threat, Modric, leaving the rest of the team to be able to defend effectively and find opportunities going forward without covering space Ronaldo was leaving open. And once again, Ronaldo receives a high rating because of the heavy lean towards goals. I would argue in the time he had against Croatia, Ramos didn't get to show himself off too much, but of course, when Ronaldo leaves, he finds a last minute goal to push the team through to the next round. The team looked super organised for that attack. Martinez didn't outright replace him, but why not? Why was he never allowed to be subbed on for Ronaldo directly, even though they are competing for the same spot? Lastly, Spain were just breaking through the lines and constantly pressuring the squad. Without that press, the squad was deficient. In this final image, I want to show you how Ronaldo is treated. He is currently being shoved up against his own players, and I ask you to watch this specific highlight in the game. It's early on and it shows the lack of respect opposition teams have for Ronaldo. You can push him around and even into his own teammates. This would never have happened to him in his past glory years, and this certainly doesn't happen to other high profile strikers at the moment. He is completely disrespected by opponents. Manchester United was super successful with Fernandes, with arguably worse players, so how then could he not find the chemistry with the rest? Bruno can find anyone. His natural talent and ability on the ball is undeniable, but the overall match ratings speak for themselves. The idea of always having to lay up Ronaldo in the final third and avoid the sort of final passes that he does for United explains why Mendes received the ball off him most of the times, because he provided the pace for reliable through balls that often broke the back line. Fernandes produced a 7.2 average over the entire tournament, similar to Ronaldo's 7.24. Even though his performances were more polar, the Uzbekistan game provided an overly high lean on scoring, which left him a rating of 9.1, boosting his average match rating. João Neves, 7.28. Like I showed before, he excelled in the Congo game and was a stable 8 that provided tough tackles and clean passes through the pitch. Mendes received a 7.36 over the 5 matches. He was making the darting runs that made opposition backlines stumble, not to mention the Man City players and the defenders who provided solid defensive cover often being involved in the match. Martinez never offered a stable wing partnership, often switching Felix, Bernardo, Neto, Leao, which made it impossible for the team to gain a solid style of play. It was spontaneous and based entirely off of who could provide Ronaldo the most opportunities rather than the chemistry between the players. Spain nullified Mendes, and that's what ultimately led to their downfall. Little wonder they ran out of ideas, especially against Spain. They couldn't play to the best of their abilities. As I have shown you in the examples above, there are many more instances where he has flustered his team rather than be of help, and saying the players should have done better is just not good enough. I am ultimately proven by their new manager choice, another manager who will bend his will in Ronaldo's favour. Why should the Portuguese fans suffer for Ronaldo's vanity project? He functionally destroys the team for low amount of opportunities, no arguing against his shooting stats, but football doesn't work as simple as pass Ronaldo the ball, score and win. The entire team is one organism, but because Ronaldo is a one-man army, the rest of the team suffers because they can't play their natural game, having to compensate for Ronaldo. It's the expectation that the ball should always be played through him, then on top of that played into him in the final third. But why should it? You are not going to be able to pass all the time and then move and hope a goal is created out of it. The rest of the team is not giving the ball away by trying a risky pass that he would struggle to latch onto. I'm not the only one who has this opinion that literally anything would have been better than Ronaldo. God forbid, you could have even put João Felix up there and you would have had an improvement. It's people who don't understand football or see it as a collective team game rather than individual stars who struggle to grasp the idea that their beloved hero could ever be at fault. They are unable to pick up on the effort that the rest of the team was putting in to support ultimately the friend they love. Remember, I love him too. The midfield can't vacate the middle of the pitch and initiate a press because who is going to cover the midfield gap? It is very obvious that if Ronaldo wasn't there, Ramos would provide more goals. So it's simple, remove Ronaldo completely or somehow convince him to become a utility bench player, highly unlikely. Or uplift Ramos and make him a mobile striker, develop reliable plays, invest in his improvement, stop wasting 2 years of important tournament prep time by practicing a tactic that doesn't work and go win another international tournament. I wish Ramos all the best at Milan and I'm excited to see what he can do linking up with Leao. Now you may have noticed I didn't actually criticise a lot of the team too much. I have a reason. Yes, there were a lot of errors made from the team, but in my opinion, Ronaldo is so broken to a mechanical core point of view that there was literally no point putting him in the team. There was literally no point me analysing the other players. They didn't function as they would naturally. I still analysed them. If they were able to play even a small percentage of their club game, I could concede then Ronaldo was let down by his teammates, but it's not true. They would often find themselves overthinking simple passes, making manoeuvres that they would easily be able to do for their club sides. It just doesn't make any sense to me from all the years of football I've watched. Blaming the entire team just feels like Ronaldo fans are scapegoating the issue rather than actually taking a look at their GOAT's performances. Relying on former glory years and ignoring current performances, it's delusional. Again, I'm not a Ronaldo hater. I sat in Alex Ferguson's chair, I sat in Ronaldo's chair. I had the time of my life at the stadium tour when I was a kid. It was brilliant. I cherish that memory a lot. But I can't stand and watch the world criticise the entire team when they had their hands tied behind their back by an egomaniac, chasing personal glory. That isn't the Ronaldo I remember. Finally, thank you for watching. Thank you for making it this far. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the stodginess of the video. It is my first video. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Please, comments below. Throw it down there. I'll argue with anyone on this point. I'm stubborn.